I have Jessica Gures from Atlanta, Georgia. She writes, I'm very spiritual and enjoy reading your work. My husband, however, could not be more secular, could not be more of a disbeliever, and gets angry if I even watch anything on this. Is it possible for me to enhance my abilities in this condition?
Of course. I mean, the idea of secular thought, or the idea of someone being skeptical where cynicism is part of it, of course. I mean, you can't force someone to accept this kind of thing, but some people are afraid of it because they feel it intrusive. And some people are very indoctrinated into the materialist view of things, where A plus B always equals C, or the only thing that we see is real is what we can touch with our hands. So, but that doesn't preclude your capacity of exploring this in a way that won't threaten him by being too woo-woo, which is what I try to do. So I would just suggest to you is to get on my website and download all that free stuff and just start using the tools. And have some fun with it, and just don't scare him. And don't argue with him either, because he's entitled to his view. That's the other thing. We can't force this down people's throats. Like, you can't. I mean,
you're absolutely right. You can't, and all it does is create a bigger barrier.
Yeah.
If she just goes about her thing, then you're right. It's like little steps at a time, and she will definitely enhance independently of what his belief is.
Exactly.
We have Sarah Vanslow in Lisbon, Portugal. She writes, when's your next book coming out? She just wrote this one.
Well, maybe she doesn't have Messages from Spirit yet. It's called Messages from Spirit, and you can get it on Amazon, on my website. But I'm actually I'm developing another Oracle card deck. My first one, the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle cards, are selling like crazy. They work. It took me 15 years to make them. And I'm creating another one called Wealth Wisdom Oracle cards, which is really about the spiritual wealth, or the spiritual currency that we all have, and how we manifest from the unmanifest into the manifest.
Colette,
so I've created this. Yes.
What are Oracle cards?
Well, okay, so that's also a good question, because my favorite thing to do is make these things. And fortunately for me, Hay House is letting me do a deck a year. And what they are is a series of symbolic images. And in the Wisdom of Avalon, for example, I created them based on, loosely based on, the Avalon myth of ancient Britain, when I used images that pertain to certain experiences of the human condition, right? So you have them, and you basically create the cards, and I make them very beautiful, and we have a great artist that works with us on them. And then you ask the cards question, and you have to assume that your superconscious, unconscious, whatever we want to call that, higher mind will choose what is pertinent to you the day of the reading. They're not so much predictive cards as they are cards that will reflect where you are, because really everything is a mirror. So, and so they work as, and again, the word oracle means a message, right? It's a sacred message. So you use them as a means to reflect all the detail of your life that's going on right now to help you make better decisions. And they really do work. And in my cards, they are divinatory, which means they will point you in a future direction. But I'm always leery of the predictive elements, because they're always, they're fluid, right? So there's no such thing as absolute determinism.
James Olson, Little Rock, Arkansas. Where do I start? This is so much information. Steve, this is one of the best shows you've had, but where do I start?
Well, how about we give him my first book for free? So I can, if you want to send, I'm going to give you my assistant's email address. It's Michelle, Michelle, at toamazeinc.com, TOOAMAZEINC.com, and we'll send you out Remembering the Future, my first book, free of charge, and you can start by reading that. And then I have a recommends page on my website, and really it's you don't have to cram it. It's a little thing at a time, one day at a time, and it's and prayer and meditation, by the way, are key. Quieting the mind. And asking for guidance, and then keeping a journal of what you see. And it's not so difficult. It's so it really is a simple thing. But yeah, so give us an email, and we're going to send you my book.
Fantastic.
I realize.
Now you're doing a tour. Do you do any other events, or is that tour keeping you pretty busy?
Well, right now the tour is keeping me crazy busy. We're finished for the first half of this year. I'm going to Chicago at the end of May to be at the Mishka. It's called the, what do you call it, festival? It's Celebrate Your Life. And then I'm doing the I Can Do It conference in Las Vegas. I'm doing a full-day seminar there, which is really intense and totally wild. And if we have time at the end, I can tell you an outrageous story about what happened in front of everybody. And then I'm doing an introductory on the Sunday. I'm going to be at Lilydale in August with Sandra Ann Taylor and her sister, Sharon Klingman, which will be wild, at that medium place. I've never been there. It's this little town where only mediums live. It's supposed to be really
like upstate New York, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be great. And then back on tour, and next year I'm going to be, Sylvia's winding down her farewell tour, but I will be doing my own events, but you'll just have to keep in touch with my calendar on my website.
It's a ton of information. We keep getting more feedback, but I want to give you more time. I think this is the first time I've ever done a show with only one commercial. We'll end up having done 58 minutes of a 60-minute show, which is fantastic. This is great. For those of you listening, of course, any new listeners we may have, this is the most easily accessible show ever. We created this show so that we could have these authors, so that we could have these thinkers, and I could do my seminars free of charge for you guys. So you can get this show when we're done. It'll be downloadable onto MP3. You can burn it to disk or on your iPod at empoweredlivingradio.com. You can get it on iTunes, or probably by the end of the week we'll also have it on YouTube. So it's going to be hard to not get this show. So if you missed some of it, don't panic. It'll be up, again, in the archives. It'll be up probably 20 minutes after this show's over. We've only got 3 minutes left, Colette.
And I can always come back.
You will definitely be coming back. You should see some of this feedback. I do a special series with James Redfield. He wrote the Self-Esteem Prophecy.
Yeah, I know who he is.
And when he comes on, we do a 2-hour show. It's the only 2-hour show I do because we talk about just about everything. And I'm getting literally cursed at for not having you on for 2 hours today.
Well, next time I'll come for 2 hours.
So next time
we can answer lots of questions.
We could definitely have her on longer. And,
really fast. Let me just tell you a fast story, okay?
Go ahead.
This will be fun for anybody who wants to actually come to these full days. I teach everybody how to do this, by the way. So I get people paired up with strangers, and this lady and this man came to the microphone, and the man says, he had seen he named the lady's husband and saw a warehouse and saw these big fluorescent lights, and anyway, it turned out that was totally accurate, that this stranger had seen, yes, her husband's name really was, I think it was Jerry, and they owned a warehouse, and the significance of the lights were that when a month after he died, because she also hadn't said goodbye to him, she was walking in the warehouse, she was saying, I wish you'd send me a sign, I wish you'd talk to me, and all the lights, 18 of them, went out one by one as she walked to the back of the warehouse. So we were all going, wow, that's a cool story. So she walks back to the back of the room, and we're in a big ballroom it was in Tampa. And one by one, the lights went out in the room. Isn't that trippy?
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah. So this kind of stuff happens to average, everyday people when we have the intention to be connected, to something higher, and it keeps us, again, thinking. And I think that's really, I guess, the message at the end of the show is like how you started it. It's all about how we treat each other, and we get messages from Spirit to enhance our life, but also to enhance others. And
it's just about participating exactly in your life and others' life, and participating in the whole idea. There's a bunch of theories I had that I wanted to throw at you because when I was reading this book, I was thinking to myself, she could probably answer some of my questions. Which most time when I ask people these questions or I throw out these thoughts, they kind of look at me like, yeah, whatever, like they go cross-eyed just listening to me. So we'll have to get those next time. Let me just get your information. Her website is ColetteBaronReid.com. That's ColetteBaronReid.com. Or just Google Colette Baron Reid. You're going to come up with about 10 billion links when you Google. She's on Hay House Radio on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And 11 a.m. Pacific, and the book, which is available at Amazon.com or through a link on her site, the book is Messages from Spirit, The Extraordinary Power of Oracles, Omens, and Signs. Colette, thank you so much for coming on the show. You'll definitely have to come back. I'll get in contact with Michelle, and we'll schedule that. It was fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, and I send my love to all of your listeners.
Thank you so much. You've been listening to Empowered Living, Life, the Truth, and Being Free. I'm your host, Steve Maraboli. Don't forget to check out our stuff at abettertoday.com or stevemaraboli.com. And, of course, empoweredlivingradio.com. We'll see you next